you have or we have to ensure people got a rebate if they wished for one?
I'm going to assume at the time that the candidate took the contribution, they advised the individual that they were not participating in the contribution rebate program and would not be receiving a rebate. The deadline for rebates has also closed.
Okay, so you're assuming that. We could always extend that, I would be sure. So I just want to make sure if no extra money is raised in 2010, then there is no rebate for any of the people that would be on that list that's forwarded for 2006. But would the donors from 2006 somehow be flagged that they are now 2010 donors if it's only money?
No, because I would have no way of knowing where necessarily those funds came from. So, for example, the councillor raised $50,000 and had a surplus of 30. I don't know in that 30 which are the actual contributors.
Okay. So the last question is for the questions that were given over to you. Then was there the financial reporting system was not integrated with the donation schedules? Have you fixed that?
I'm not clear. Sorry, Councillor.
In the electronic reporting, the financial reporting system is not integrated with the donation schedules in the electronic. Has that been fixed?
Janet, do you know?
Councillor, are you referring to the list of contributors that is available through the electronic financial disclosure system on the website? Is that the list of contributors that you're referring to?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councillor Fletcher. Sorry. Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Fletcher?
Thank you. No, that's it.
Thank you. Councillor McConnell, you have questions of staff?
So as I'm understanding it, can you confirm that in fact the new regulations, if they're put in place with regards to corporations and union donations, will not those, there is no way to take any of those amounts out of the surpluses. Is that correct? So there will in fact continue to have corporate and union donations in some of the surpluses.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. There are no further questions, and we'll go back to speakers. First speaker, non-members of the committee, is Councilman Wong. Councillor, you have 5 minutes. You may start any time.
Members of committee, I have a small PowerPoint presentation, and you know, the report here, I mean, ideally we're trying to make a change for the better, add integrity to the system. That's what we're all here for. I suspect that's Councillor Walker's motion, Councillor Jenkins' second in motion. They want to make the system more transparent. They want to improve the election system. They want to make it more democratic. That's why we're all here. We want to make change for the better. So the motion that's put forward to ban union and political contributions, I have heard two arguments. Restrict donations from unions and corporations because they wield undue influence at City Hall, number one. The second, corporations and their principals will only be limited to one donation. In fact, I saw on one of the newspapers, it's even the mayor's spokesman, the suggested changes mean you have one person, one donation, says mayoral spokesman Stuart Green. That's the second reason that I've found. But our real question is what's the impact? Will these new rules improve the election process and the financial contribution process, a way of supporting and involving corporations, unions, and individuals in the election process? So let's look at a case study. Someone who actually didn't take corporation or union donations, David Miller, Mayor David Miller in 2006, he refused contributions from unions and corporations. I have his filing here, 70 odd pages of donations. I had a student look at this. He or she didn't know anything about the system, about who they were. I just had them Google, because you know what? When an individual gives, there's no, I work for this company, I work for that company, and that's a problem in terms of transparency. It's a real problem. And so, what did we find? Who are these people? I pulled out 10 names. Peter Gligan, Al Libfeld. Some of them are familiar to me, some of them aren't. Alfredo Romano, Edward Sunshine, Moira Romano, Maurice Stevens, Dennis Au Young, Fred Darvish, Ronwood Krog, Gerald Silverberg. Those are 10 people who gave donations. Who are these people? All made contributions. $2,500 from Mr. Sunshine. And I don't have anything against these individuals. I just pulled the names out. $2,500 for Mr. Gligan. Al Liebfield gave $1,250. Mr. Romano, $2,500. Moira Romano, which I understand is the spouse of Mr. Romano, $2,500. Maurice Stevens, $1,500. Now, I don't know who Maurice Stevens is, but he works for Mr. Romano's company, I understand. Dennis Au Young, $500. Fred Darvish, $1,000. These are individuals that contributed to the mayor's election campaign. They just did it as individuals. That's what we're led to believe, because they're just plain old individuals. Because the mayor doesn't accept, remember, he didn't accept contributions from corporations or unions. Ronwood Krog, another individual. Gerald Silverberg, $2,500. So, but they all do work for the city. But in this document, the proposal that we're being asked to adopt is not to allow corporate or union donations. So this process would still be allowed. This is the model that we're adopting, because we don't want corporations or developers or unions to participate. But look at, when you do the research, this is what you find out. They all do business with the City of Toronto. So if you're looking for a solution here, this is not that solution. Multiple donations. There's a gentleman named Anthony Ferreira who gave $2,500. Frank Carnevale gave $2,500. Now remember, this is the process where you have one person, one donation. You're not going to do double up donations. But if we look at these two individuals, chairman of Bridgepoint Group and the president of Bridgepoint Group, I understand that both of them do business with the City of Toronto.
Okay, Councillor, you
I'll be very
5
quick.
minutes. You appreciate
So the proposed bylaw creates less transparency, less openness. It does not get rid of corporate donations. It does not get rid of union donations. It makes it harder for electors to hold elected officials accountable for those donations, and it drives the identity, the real identity, of contributors underground. That's why this bylaw is wrong, and that's why the current until we find a way to create greater transparency, that's why the current system should stay the way it is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. That's it. Okay, thank you. Any further speakers? Councillor Walker, you're next.
I would urge the members of this committee to support the recommendations contained in report number 2. And it is really a small first step, but as indicated by the deputants, it is that giant first step, because it'll establish, as Mr. Gordon said, it'll establish a standard for municipalities across the province, but most particularly across the country, and break the logjam that's been sitting there for quite a few years, many years. And there are plenty of other things that we can do, but it is a start, and the provincial legislation went part of the way in terms of dealing with surpluses, changing the election date. It didn't go far enough, but it's a start, and under the City of Toronto Act, we have a right to prohibit union and corporate donations. What Councillor Benawang has said is there is some truth to that. Can we go farther in that area? Yes, we should. Ideally, in the next round of provincial legislation, when they impose it upon all municipalities and hopefully themselves before the 2011 election, is identify the employer that they work for and their postal code. I think those are good moves. That's what they do in I think in New York City, for one. And that's the next step. But it will, in my opinion, reduce